Okay, folks at home, welcome to the second official episode of 4 for 40 Horsemen Hangouts. My name is Rue. As always, I'm joined tonight by the esteemed horsemen of yesteryear and today, because we haven't gone away. Y'all remember the Horsemen Hangout. The Horsemen Hangout has not gone away. It's just evolved, it's progressed. And as of press time, I've got two horsemen in the room with me right now, soon to be three. Uh, you know, with me, that would make four. Staring at one right now, one legendary horseman by the name of Mr. Lane, Sir Mr. Lane from outer space. How are you, my boy, my boy?
For the Braves country, we're okay right now, even though we'll talk about it as we go. So I look forward to the baseball talk, the wrestling talk, or whatever we gotta have thrown up. I'm from the outer space world. Oh my gosh. Is that a spaceship or a satellite near me? Ah.
Oh, brother, look at this. Look at this. Look at this clown here. Look at this clown. Mr. Lane, you know there's a lack of gravity out there. You should be doing like the floaty type thing, right? You're floating.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh. I'm floating. Whoa. I'm missing my spacesuit. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm out of space.
Also in the room, the baseball genius himself, my good close personal friend for many, many years, the one, the only, Anthony Zorzi. Mr. Z, how are you tonight?
I am doing great. I am safe and sound here on Earth. I know Mr. Lane is out in outer space. Please don't float away because we need you here for the whole show, buddy.
Yeah, he's been here. He's been here for a while. And I've got to say that I just want to make sure it's recording. Oh, it is recording. Okay, so folks at home, just bear with me if I look a little different because I'm recording from my iPhone. I just wanted to make sure that I missed it. But I see the red light flashing. And that means we are good to go. We are waiting on the fourth horseman, my brother Justin, who is right now a little bit late. I know one of his kids is feeling a little under the weather, but that's expected. And I do plan on giving the reins of this show of 4 for 40 to him and hosting duties once he arrives. But I'll take the reins. I'll take the Roman reins, so to speak, to start. But I mean, just off the top of my head, I mean, dude, let's just start topical right now. As of press time, something happened right at the start. We might as well get this out of the way before Justin gets in the room. But Mr. Lane, what happened big on AEW? I saw a flash on my internet, social media, something about a Americano Patriot missile title that just got made or something in AEW.
Well, let's talk AEW if that's what you want to talk about. I mean, right
boy,
now,
I'll talk about it, boy.
We have the blood and guts match going on in progress as we speak here. It's basically Team Elite versus Team AEW. So,
Okay.
that being said, we had the beginning of the promo, which involved the real best in the world, not CM Punk, because CM Punk lost to the best in the world, Maxwell Jacob Freeman,
Okay.
MJF. Point of it is he beat Ospreay in an amazing match last week. It was close to an hour. It was like 58 minutes, 58 seconds, something like that. Point is, Maxwell Jacob Freeman in his usual performance, he has his dynamite ring that he would wear on his pinky finger, honestly.
Okay.
Nailed Ospreay with his ring last week, won the AEW International title. Now they did a promo to start the show. And they had a belt underneath the sheets, basically, were underneath some cloth. He basically wanted to call it the AEW American Championship, but then Ospreay, prior to the show, Ospreay had did an interview with, I think, I forget his name. Alvarez, I believe, is his name. Point of it is his car was flattened. He was trying to drive to the show. His car was flattened. He took Alvarez's car. And then after he did his promo, he did his little celebration of the United States champ, like the AEW supposed United States championship. Point of it was After his promo, he did like an American flag with all the Maxwell Jacob Friedman faces on it,
Oh,
which
brother.
was kind of cool actually. Then he
Yeah,
had
bro.
his red, white, and blue confetti that was or strings. They were just doing fireworks, little fireworks from the ring, not
Well, I just
fireworks.
okay. It's the American.
But
Before we get our thoughts, I mean, if it is the American title, right? It's called the
well,
American title.
that's what he wants to call it. He had thrown the original title in the trash, but
All
then
right.
Osprey took it out of the trash, and then
Okay.
he took it. See,
Well, in
it's
that
an interesting
respect, I
take.
think okay. Before we give our take on the
Yeah,
title, since it's the American title, I think we should say the Pledge of Allegiance. All three of us right now. You remember back in Delsey, we used to do it.
oh yeah.
All right, hand over our hearts. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And a
I
one
pledge allegiance up
to
to
the
the
flag,
flag of the United
United
States
States of America,
America,
to the republic
Republic
for which it stands,
and
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible.
indivisible, with liberty,
liberty, and
justice,
justice
for
for all.
all. So
God
Amen.
bless America.
Amen. God bless America. With that said, I think there are way too many titles in AEW, and that's pointless.
yeah, you know what? I will agree with you to an extent there. I will agree with you with the championships because you also have some championships that are from New Japan too. That they because AEW does have a working relationship with New Japan because I believe, speaking of which, I know Moxley had held the IWGP Championship, which is the top belt in Japan. I believe he's held on to that. And
I'll
then you
say
have a
yeah.
couple of ladies that um, have women's championships from New Japan. Obviously, Miss Monet, formerly known as Sasha, she
Yeah.
has a championship, and then Willow
Will
Nightingale,
Nightingale.
she has
Yeah.
I believe a New Japan championship as well. So
Well, I mean,
I
they're
do
not
agree
all.
with you there. I do agree with you there. There
We'll
is a lot
see.
of championships.
Maybe they can build it up. I don't like just cutting down all without praising. And I will say that I've always liked the AEW World Heavyweight title. I thought it looked
Yeah,
good. And they've built it up throughout the years. I believe, according to what I understand, Bryan Danielson is about to probably win it from Swerve I think
Swerve
it's
Strickland.
from Swerve.
He's the
I
current
think
champion right now.
now that's an interesting match because now well, let's get Mr. Z's thoughts too. But I think that's an interesting match because really Bryan Danielson deserves to win the title, but at the same time, is he going to do put over Swerve? We'll see about that. We'll see about that. But Mr. Z, what do you think about the current state of AEW right now and the Americano cheese, the American patriotism title that they just introduced?
Well, as many of you know, I don't really follow their product that closely, so I don't really have many thoughts on the new title. I will comment on the Danielson issue because that is interesting to me. Is it true he is essentially almost like Cena? He's like going to hang it up soon. He's announced that, right?
Yes.
That's what I understood. I understood that he was going to wrap it up in ring, very very soon. I think by the end of the year. Is that right, Mr. Lane?
Yes, because I heard that he was going on this like one last run in AEW as a full-time competitor because he's been wrestling full-time, with in the AEW brand, quite frankly. So this is really
So is this going to be his like goodbye? One last run with the title, and is Danielson Swerve the match at All In, or is he
correct.
going to win the
Yes.
title before that?
Yes, that is the match for All In because Danielson did win the Owen Hart tournament. See,
Right.
Danielson won the Owen Hart tournament for the guys,
Okay.
and also Mariah May won the women's tournament for the ladies. So I was hoping in a little while we'll discuss the Mariah May thing as well because that was amazing. Spoiler alert, I'm just going to say it out loud now. She turned on Tony Storm basically, which
Ooh.
I thought was brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant personally that she turned on Tony
Well,
Storm after she won the Owen Hart Cup 2 weeks ago in Calgary. So yeah, I just said that. So there you
well, we
go.
go from one hot we go from one hot lady angle to the next. And right now, I'd like to talk about something I talked to you guys off air about. this whole angle with Liv Morgan on WWE Raw, Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley. I mean, man, is this thing giving me shades and flashback to the Attitude Era? I mean, this woman,
Yep.
this woman, Liv Morgan. Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you what. I mean, I'd love to. I'll give you my take on it. I think it's not really that great of an angle, but I think it's great because it's kind of giving us hope that WWE really is now starting to cater to the 18 to 35-year-old demographic. We're older than that, but it's the first time when my brain I've thought actually two things, two times. This angle and the Rock, when the Rock came back and they did the whole thing with Cody, I thought that was very much pushing the envelope with the violence and the language and everything. And it seems like Hunter is really catering to a broader adult audience, especially with the move to Netflix in January. I enjoy the angle. I'm not the biggest Dominic Mysterio fan, I got to be honest with you. He does remind me of Eddie a little bit. And
Yes, he
I believe,
does.
and Mr. Lane, you told me some other characters in this angle remind you of a certain wrestler or wrestlers from the past. Tell us what this angle reminds you of.
I think it reminds me of Eddie Guerrero and China, the Latino Heat angle back in the back like 20 years ago. This was obviously before. I was going to say I think they did the Latino Heat. When did they do that angle? I think it was around
2000.
maybe around like 2000, 2000.
It was 2000, 2001. Yeah.
Because I do remember that angle tremendously. China was like, she was basically showing her feminine side. So basically, and she was the muscular. She was known as the muscular woman.
She was showing China. All right. First of all, China R.I.P. You said she was China R.I.P. We miss you, China. And she was showing her what side?
Femininely side. It's a hard word to say, honestly, but
all right.
feminine side's what I'm trying to say.
You got it.
That's the word I'm trying to say. But like her sexy side is in
I see.
just
I
to
see.
make it just
femininity.
Yes.
Feminine.
Yes.
But anyway, R.I.P. China. I want to get in one thing before we throw it over to Mr. Z. Liv Morgan, man, she is nailing it out of the ballpark. Just a tremendous job. She reminds me of a young Trish Stratus, but I don't know. I think she's more, not entirely similar, but just maybe in the looks department, a little bit like a young Trish Stratus. And I think, what this is going to. I'll give you my prediction right now before Mr. Justin enters the room. If you guys watched Raw, when Liv Morgan basically had her heart broken by Dominic, I think it's a swerve. I don't think Dominic hates her at all. I think at SummerSlam, during the Liv Rhea Ripley match, I think Mr. Dominic is going to turn on Mommy, and I think I don't know. I think the fans are going to pop. As much as they love Rhea Ripley, I think they're going to go crazy. I think they're going to go freaking crazy when, if he joins, with Liv as and True, and makes out with her in the ring. Right now, guys, I wanted to throw it to Mr. Z, but right now we got somebody waiting in the waiting room right now. Z, I will not let you not talk about this topic.
No worries.
Let me let Justin in the room, and we will be joined by the fourth horseman in roughly, I would say 3, 2, and we are still waiting. Maybe his Wi-Fi signal has crashed. Or Mr. Lane, are you there?
He's floating. He's floating out in space.
Yeah. Okay, so Mr. Z, I don't think we have problems with Justin. Mr. Z, talk about the angle with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley.
I think it's great. Both Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, obviously, very attractive women. Let's be real. But their work has been great with this. Dating back to the original injury post WrestleMania, the way they've kind of pivoted with giving Liv this title run. I kind of think, Rue, they're going to do it a little bit differently because they've been teasing the fracturing of the Judgment Day, and I think it's going to be Finn Balor and Liv Morgan that now team up. because they've been doing a lot of things. Like, do you remember the Raw with the hotel key card? And Dominic says,
yes.
you know, and Finn Balor was the one that picked it up. So I kind of think that Finn Balor is going to turn on the Judgment Day with Liv Morgan, and they're going to be, you know, whether it's a couple, whether it's, you know, a faction, but that's where I think this is ultimately headed, is breaking up the Judgment Day. And I think Finn Balor, Damian Priest is going to happen, with the Demon Finn Balor versus, you know, the bisexual Undertaker Damian Priest.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a really good take, and I'm glad we're recording this and getting this down so we could see who is going to be right after next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. But like my question, and you brought this up in the text message earlier, is like this whole thing with like Liv's attraction to Dom. Is it solely just? It's clear. I guess it's clear that she's just doing this to manipulate to get to Rhea Ripley, or is he supposed to legit be a sex symbol? Because I mean, like, let's be Mr. Lane, do you think Dominic Mysterio is a sex symbol by herself?
Well, he has, his character, from what I've seen, has grown like crazy. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, because he had the baby face, he had the young look. He was, when he was starting out, he was just trying to get his feet wet basically at the time. But now his character, over time, ever since he did join the Judgment Day, has, you know, grown and grown and grown. He's grown over time. I mean, it's just unbelievable. He's grown his hair long, and he looks like Eddie Guerrero to me. He just looks like Eddie Guerrero in that, you know, from the presentation of Dominic Mysterio that I've seen in footage, is he looks very similar to Eddie Guerrero. And he's always said, oh, to Rey Mysterio, saying, oh, I wish Eddie was my father, yada yada yada. I remember that. Yeah. But just remember that he did say that in storyline that he was, that, you know, that he
well, anyway,
was,
my point of it is I don't know. I guess I'm not a good judge of handsome mustached. I guess I'm not a good judge of handsome mustached men. I just feel like the attraction's a little unrealistic because Liv is like this you know, pristine kind of beauty queen type, and Dominic looks like Dominic. I don't know. I think Z agrees with me on that one, but I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mr. Justin, can you hear us? We don't have his audio or his video.
Yeah, you are on mute there, buddy.
Yeah, I will try right now to try and unmute and start his video if I'm able to. Let's see. Allowed to record to computer.
There he is.
There he is.
Has he arrived?
There he is.
Say his name and he appears.
There he is.
I don't see it. Oh, there he is.
In the flesh.
Let's wait for him to.
Let me try this again.
There he is. There he is.
Try this again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Come on, Mr. Lane. Come on, Mr. Lane.
Get him, Mr. Lane. Get him, Mr. Lane.
Come on, Mr. Lane. Say it. Say it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
How y'all doing?
Do you believe in Joe Hendricks?
We're doing good. Just watching a little bit of blood and guts over here in my apartment here, just watching the blood and guts match while we're doing this Horseman conversation. So that's
we were just talking about the backside of Liv Morgan, and I mean the angle between Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley. What's your take on this angle, Mr. Justin?
Well, let's do little lovebirds. By
the way, pause right there. This week, the 4 for 40 Horseman Hang was brought to you by Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its Duos, Jalapeno and Cheddar Jack. The jalapeno is my personal favorite. Cheez-Its. Boy, is it cheesy. They're the cheesiest. All right, continue.
I'll just say that, you know, it's a great angle, and it's a great example of getting over a guy like Dom Mysterio with a popular. Rhea Ripley is probably the biggest name in women's wrestling right now, and Liv Morgan is up there with her. So it's just working on all cylinders, and it's really benefiting Dom because he's the one that's going to come out of this probably with a higher stature and ranking than he had before. But I think the SummerSlam match is going to be good, but it's probably not going to be the last we see of that matchup, I think. But no, I don't know if you guys talked about the card yet, but I sent the card to you guys for SummerSlam, and it's like there might be one match that's like not great, but they're all like have done great builds for all of these matches.
Mr. Lane,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on Justin's audio quality right now?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's a little not to criticize, it's a little scratchy, but I heard Justin's angle of the whole Liv Morgan situation. He was saying about the SummerSlam card and whatnot, and I agree with him. You know, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, two of the top ladies in the business, which you just said a second ago. No doubt about it. I mean, Liv Morgan has probably been one of the more improved women in the business right now. I mean, she was like very close to winning the women's championship. Now she is a ladies champion in WWE now. So hopefully this elevates her along with Rhea and along with a lot of the women in the WWE, because you got a lot of hungry women in the WWE right now that are, hungry just to be
hungry
successful.
for what? Hungry
To win the women's championship in the future, and just to be successful in general. You have the tag titles now. You have the women's championships now in the WWE. So
don't count out the NXT champion, Mr.
That's
Z's
what I'm
woman,
saying.
Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, that's an underrated name. I think she's extremely underrated, under the radar. I don't think too many people pay attention to the NXT brand as they should, but it's a solid brand. I'll give it.
Can I say one more name? Underrated?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Chelsea Green.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona's real life wife, yes.
Mr. Lane,
Yes.
can you do the Samantha Irvin, Chelsea Green announcement for us?
Thinking the same thing.
Chelsea Green!
Now, wait a minute. How would Mr. Lane know that Samantha announces Chelsea's name like that if he doesn't watch WWE?
It's been on YouTube. It's on YouTube, for Pete's sake. Come on now.
You mean you secretly watch WWE on YouTube?
Not too much of it, though. I rarely watch it as it is, to be honest. I mean, I'll watch clips here and there, and that's really about it. It's basically Instagram clips, if anything like that. But have I watched WWE on YouTube? Yeah, but that's been a long time ago. I hate to say it, I'm guilty by association. I unsubscribed to WWE a long time ago. So there. To answer Rude TV's question, I unsubscribed to WWE on YouTube. I'll admit it. I like to watch different wrestling brands now. If it's on, I try to watch different brands. I'll watch, not just WWE, but other wrestling promotions if I can. But so you wanted me to give me that Chelsea Green intro that's Miss Irvin does. I'll do it again. Chelsea Green. She says it like with a loud pitch. I know that much, but
that was very well done.
Very underrated.
Samantha Irvin is not only is she very talented, but
yes,
very, 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 very cute young lady. Ricochet is a very lucky man. She seems like the total package.
Right? Yeah. She's Ricochet's. Well, she's Ricochet's real life wife, by the way. So I know, unfortunately, I think Ricochet honored his contract. I don't think WWE.
I think Ricochet's AEW bound, I believe.
And a few other wrestlers that I believe that were discussed as well. If we can discuss that in a little while. So I think it was 3 other wrestlers that we'll name hopefully a little later on in the show. So,
Mr. Lane, I have a question for you before I hand over the reins to Justin. Justin wants to. This is something I've been curious, and I know I helped you many years ago move out of the old classic man cave to where you live today. We're not going to say on the air because we don't divulge, locales. But in terms of
he lives in outer space.
Oh, he's in outer space right now, right? I remember I moved you into Jupiter. I remember that. But my question is, offhand, how many Atlanta Brave hats and how many Atlanta Brave shirts does Mr. Lane own currently? Roughly. Take an educated guess. The fans at home want to know. Are you frozen?
He was
No,
floating.
no. I was well. Z has given me the access to float around space right now. So while I was listening to your question, yeah, I have a lot of Brave hats and Brave jerseys and shirts and whatnot. I do have a handful of them here and there.
And everywhere.
I've yet to get the City Connect ones that I'd like to get. See, this is really the only City Connect because this is an old school Aaron jersey. This is a City Connect hat that I have, but I would like to get maybe more City Connect merchandise over time. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I'm out of space. Oh no. Oh, I'm out of space. I'll be right back after these messages. Oh no. Oh no.
We've lost connection.
I'll be right back.
We've lost connection. Well, it was good to have Mr. Lane on the show while we're there, but yeah, oh, he's gone. The heart and soul of the Horseman Hangout just left us. You know, speaking of baseball and MLB, what is this, you guys? Talk before Mr. Lane comes back. What is this pickle? What is this pickle we've been hearing so much about? Is this all you guys talk about? Is this pickle? This MLB pickle game? What the hell is it?
Well, basically, it's a game you can play on MLB.com or the MLB app that we have, and you get
Trivia.
Well, you get 9 guesses to guess a current major league player, a random player that's currently playing, and it's broken down into categories: division, age, team, position, country. What ones am I missing there, host?
Is my audio any better, by the way?
That's
Yeah,
better.
a little better, a little better,
Yeah.
a little better. You were topping
Right.
out a little bit.
I
So-
changed the microphone.
So it will tell you if you like, for example, if you did Bryce Harper, it would say NL East, Phillies, USA, first baseman, whatever his age is, and then if any of them were right, they would be green. If they were wrong, they wouldn't be a color. If they were orange, it means you were close, like you were within 2 of age, or like if they were a switch hitter and throwing and batting was another category.
It just it seems like
yeah,
a big craze. Sports fans love it. It seems like a big craze, just like Pokemon Go.
Yeah, no, it's definitely taken off.
You remember? You remember Pokemon Go?
I remember Pokemon Go, of course. I think it's been probably about a year since like Immaculate Grid took off, and me and Mr. J, I know we still play every day. But yeah, pickle's fun. I think Mr. Lane
It's
for
fun.
bringing that
Excellent
game to my
game.
attention.
Excellent game.
Yeah, it is
It's an excellent game. It's a fun game. It keeps your baseball mind sharp. Excellent game.
Well,
Excellent.
I'm gonna hand over the reins now to Mr. J, Mr. Justin. I hope Mr. Dante is feeling better. But I'm gonna hand over the reins to Mr. Justin, and we will see what Mr. Justin has for us.
Thanks, Mr. Rue TV. I'm glad to be here with you guys here hosting on what are we calling this? The 4 for 40? Is that the official name?
Yeah, buddy, you sound like you're on 610 WIP AM radio, buddy. Mr. Lane, I busted up Mr.
I'm
Lane.
sorry. I just had to laugh.
Keep talking, Rue. Let me try one more.
Mr. Lane mocking. He mocking him. You mocking him.
So while Mr. Justin is figuring that out, we really didn't touch that much on SummerSlam other than Liv Morgan. So I have a question. I mean, obviously, I think we'll probably get back into it. But Mr. Lane, you have seen none of the CM Punk Drew McIntyre stuff because that has been absolutely incredible.
Well, I've seen a little bit of the storyline with McIntyre and Punk, a little bit of highlights to it. It was just a shame that unfortunately Punk could not wrestle at WrestleMania. I thought that sucked. to be honest. But then they continued the story with McIntyre and Punk. So there was talk, I think, also if McIntyre was going to leave WWE and whatnot. But I knew he wasn't going to leave WWE. I think he's too valuable to WWE. He's making a good story, like you're saying, Z, with Punk as well. That's fine, and I hope he stays with WWE. Hopefully those guys can, you know, continue that storyline and see
I
where
think
this
Drew
thing goes.
McIntyre has been the absolute star of this feud. I mean, leading up to Mania,
Right.
winning the title, losing at Mania, but just how he's handled it, the promos that he's cut, his matches at Money in the Bank. I never thought Drew McIntyre had this in him. Maybe it's shame on me for sleeping on him. But he's been awesome. Just he has taken this. We all know how well CM Punk is and how he can elevate and give a feud a feel like a big time feud, big match feel. But man, has McIntyre been awesome. So props to him. He's been great.
So what would you do? So you've got Drew and Punk at SummerSlam, Seth the special referee, Mr. Z as the pencil. Who goes over there if you're in charge? If you're booking that match, who goes over? It's really tough for me to decide what they're actually going to do. I know Cody's not going to drop the title. They'll probably end the show with Roman Reigns coming back. So I don't know what direction they're going to go in terms of, because they want to also set up Punk versus Seth, a special referee. So how would you end that match, Z?
I go back and forth on this, but I'm not going to take credit for this because I did see it online. But do you remember Bret Hart, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels special guest referee?
SummerSlam maybe, or was that a
SummerSlam '97 to be exact.
Yeah,
I gotta watch that. I gotta watch that one again. It's been a while.
Bret Hart spits on Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels grabs the chair from him. Bret Hart hawks a loogie on him. Goes to hit Bret Hart with the chair. Bret moves. He hits the Undertaker. I think that's what we're looking at. I think it's going to be some type of finish where Seth Rollins gets involved, and now all of a sudden he's, as if he wasn't before, he's thrust into this feud with potentially CM Punk or Drew McIntyre, and then where do they go from there? I mean, you could theoretically see this feud all the way to WrestleMania, culminating in a triple threat match. I would hate to waste a Seth Punk feud because I think there's a lot of meat there. Yeah. And I think it would be one hell of a match. I am so bummed that we didn't get to see that at Mania in Philly. But there is a lot that they can do. And it's exciting because you're going to want to see Punk's versus Seth, but also in this coming year, I want to see CM Punk versus John Cena one more time. I think they're going to do it. There's no doubt they're definitely going to give it to us. So
I would love to see that in Chicago, where their Money in the Bank match was in 2011, I think.
That's one of my favorite matches of all time. Like sometimes I just go back and watch his introduction from that match. It was absolutely incredible.
It's amazing. I'm really looking forward to that.
Can you hear me any better? Is that better?
Yeah, you're much better, much better.
I'm on my phone now. I'm interested in seeing what they do with Cena. Not that I want to see his matches, but I just want to see what they do with the character. I think he's going to get the belt. Like you said, Rue, maybe the Raw belt one more time to break the record.
Yeah, that counts as a
Punk, Orton, and I think somebody made the good point. He's probably going to put a younger guy over at some point, probably lose the belt to them. So I want to ask you guys, who do you think? There's a lot of candidates on the roster now. It's funny because for the longest time we said WWE couldn't make younger stars, and now I feel like they almost have an overabundance of guys like Gunther and Breaker and all these guys that are like everyone's just the future. It's crazy. But who do you think John Cena should put over? Say, before he leaves, one guy that you would have him do it to.
Well,
what do you think, Mr. Lane?
I can't see why not. I thought Justin nailed an interesting wrestler. I think Gunther would be awesome because that guy I think is one of the more underrated wrestlers I think in the business. the guy had a long intercontinental title reign. I think it was like 500 and something
All right.
days, something like
Wait a
that.
minute. Wait a minute, Mr. Lane. I
What?
think you're a scout for Tony Khan.
I think so too. I thought the same thing.
You a
I thought
scout,
this-
boy. You a
What?
scout, boy.
What?
You a
Am
talent
I?
scout.
Do I have to float out of space again?
Whoa.
Were you the one that
my
brought in?
gosh.
You brought in Deanna Peraza. We know that.
Oh,
You brought her in.
I'm floating. Oh my goodness, I'm out of space. Oh, never mind.
This man is on the payroll. This man is on the payroll of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, brother.
Well, I would like to see. I've been a fan of this dude. He just got called up to the main roster. He has stood out in a lot of the times he's been showcased. Carmelo Hayes rules. That dude is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, he's one hell of a worker.
Or you know what? Who's that other guy? Carmelo Hayes, and then Trick Williams. He's good.
Yeah, he's currently in NXT, and hey,
Now there've been allegations. Triple H, does not prefer minorities holding the belts. There's been allegations. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know if it's true or not. But you look at the landscape, and he's doing a great job. But some of these guys, the Street Profits and others have kind of seen themselves fall back since Triple H took the reins. I don't know, buy or sell, Mr. Lane. Triple H is anti-minority.
That's a tough call because I've heard history of it with it's been with the Booker T scrutiny of WrestleMania back in 23. I think in Seattle they had like a feud there. I remember that. It was
he wouldn't drop the belt.
right. Because he's done. He's one of the positives of WWE, but I'm lukewarm with the Endeavor ownership. I mean, with the people and that they're the real higher ups now of WWE now. But from what I have to buy and sell because of the history and I'm hoping he does what quote unquote is best for business, is best for WWE. From what I've heard, he's gotten praise from all wrestling fans all over the country, all over the world. A lot of people think he's done a great job of booking matches, booking stories, but then you have some talent that are still underused in WWE. I'll just say the names now. You have obviously Lashley, MVP, Shelton Benjamin. They're AEW bound from as Ricochet you just said, Rue TV about 10 minutes ago. But for those guys potentially might go to the All Elite Wrestling. They might go to Impact. We don't know, but they're free agents. But we'll see.
It's interesting because WWE, it seems like every couple weeks they're bringing in new people. I heard that the Mexican female wrestler Stephanie, I forget her name now, but her, and they're bringing in Giulia, which I heard are very talented ladies. And it's like there's only so much airtime and so many belts and so much space for all these storylines. So eventually somebody's is going to be faded to the back of TV. You know what I mean? Stephanie Vacker, is that her name? Vacker? I forget her name.
Yeah, I think she's from Japan, if I remember.
Yeah,
I've heard of that. I've heard of that name. Because I heard that she was signed with WWE.
Julia walked by us when we were at Reading Terminal Market, and Z spotted her.
I remember you pointing that out.
A wrestler you ran into or something?
Yeah.
Really? When
This was at Reading Terminal Market. We were on our way to WWE World.
Okay.
And we stopped to have a bite to eat, and I recognized her, and she walked by, and I said, "That's a wrestler. That's Julia."
Okay.
And I was right.
Interesting. That's an interesting take. That's news from what you just said. Okay. Very nice.
Mr. Justin, now that you're back and audio and video is working and running like a well-oiled machine, What else do you have for us tonight?
Well, one thing I wanted to touch on is I just really quickly was going through current events. I wanted to say some nice words to a few people. If you're watching, Michael Richards, formerly Kramer of Seinfeld, Karl Malone, the mailman of the Utah Jazz, Barry Bonds, former home run king, Nick Nurse, head coach of your Philadelphia 76ers, J. Lo, Jennifer Lopez, beautiful Latina, and also Tori Wilson. Wanted to give birthday wishes to all of those people. Just made a huge impact in American culture, and I just wanted to take real briefly to give them their wishes tonight. And you know me, I always give wishes to people that deserve them. I never, ever leave with their birthday without giving them wishes. That's something I always do.
Cool. That's cool.
Anything else?
Yep. Okay.
Michael Richards.
A lot of silence going on here.
All right. And next, we're going to talk a little baseball. Have you guys gotten to baseball at all yet?
No. Rue wanted me to save that until Justy got here. So that's I was hoping to talk baseball with you guys. And I'm going to ask. See, me being in a injured, damaged position right now, we have been rained out. My Braves have been rained out like 3 times in not even a week.
Mother Nature's saving your ass, Mr. Lane, because you lost this morning.
I'm not saying. Yeah, thank you for rubbing it in. I was about to finish my point.
The Phillies game was brutal today, so go ahead, sir.
Now, it was we've had 3 rainouts since this past weekend. One against the Cardinals, and then 2 days in a row, played the first game against the Reds. It was a tragedy, to say the least. It was a 9-4 loss against the Redlegs. That's what they're called. But played only 1 game against the Reds. Then it was a rain out tonight. So that's 2 rainouts in a row. And then also my team, I don't know what in the world is going on with my ball club, because we have had injuries really since day 1, ever since opening day. Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No, you're right.
Sean Murphy, who was supposed to be our catcher, was out for a while. Then we lose Strider, who a lot of people thought would be the Cy Young Award winner in the National League. He was hurt. Then the most valuable player from the previous season, the reigning MVP, lost him for the season. Then we've lost some other players, Arcia for a little bit. We lost Ozzy Albies recently. Austin Riley was out for a little while. Then we lost. Let's see, who else did we lose?
Max Fried's on the DL.
Michael Harris, yes, Max Fried, correct. He was just on the injured list recently as well. Riley had a legitimate excuse because he's a father for the 2nd time, so he had paternity leave. That's fine. I'm not worried about that. I mean, it's a 162 game season. Things are going to happen in a 162 game grind. I get it. Now, you guys have the best record in freaking baseball right now. I want to ask all 3 of you guys straight up. Do you guys have confidence in that current outfield that you guys have right now, or do you guys want to add another bat to your lineup coming October? Because October baseball, barring a potential collapse of 60 years ago, aka 1964, that's for another conversation. But right now they have the best record in baseball. Do you guys have confidence in that current outfield that you guys have right now? Or would you guys try to trade for maybe a Brett Rooker from the Oakland A's, or a Luis Robert from the Chicago White Sox? Who else? Maybe an Ian Happ from the Chicago Cubs, or a Cody Bellinger from the Chicago Cubs. Any of those names, like, or I forgot. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Randy Arozarena from the Tampa Bay Rays. Would you guys go after one of those players, or do you guys have confidence in your outfield as is? I want to hear all y'all. Justy, I will let you go first, sir. Go ahead, shoot.
Yeah, we need to make a move, and we're going to make a move. Question
Okay.
is, what does Dombrowski do? There's been me and Z talk about
Well,
this daily.
Sam Fold, hold on. Sam Fold's your
He's
general
the-
manager.
yeah.
Dombrowski's the president of baseball operations, just to clarify that. Proceed.
Good point.
Yes,
Mr. Ray.
but shut up.
He
Shut
demanded
up.
a factual statement.
Proceed. Forget it. With Z, we'll get to you, Mr. GM of the Cowboys. Let Mr. Justy talk. Go ahead, shoot. Go ahead and talk.
They need a right-handed bat.
Okay.
They're talking about maybe platooning Marsh with somebody, but they also, center field's an issue too. So I don't. Maybe they get one, maybe two outfielders.
Okay.
But Rooker, Rooker's as good as he is at the plate. He can't really. It's not going to work. Just because the price he's probably going to have, and positional wise, you don't want to have to put him out there or Schwarber back out there. So I don't know if that's the best move. So they're going to make
Schwarber's going to be your
or two.
designated hitter. Schwarber's your primary designated hitter. He ain't going.
Right.
He's not going to play left field for you guys.
I'm saying if
Schwarber's
they get
DH.
a guy like Rooker, and Rooker's somehow worse than Schwarber, then probably Schwarber would stay DH. But
right.
They definitely need a right-handed bat in the outfield. Rojas is a great fielder, but they need help in center field with the bat as well. They need we saw in this recent series, they need an arm in the bullpen. The bullpen was great in the first half, but I think they could still use one or two guys back there.
Okay.
And I heard yesterday on Twitter, I think a starting pitcher they were looking at. You can never have too much depth when it comes to starting pitching, even though, they've had a solid 4 guys all year.
Yes, and you guys signed the number 5 guy. You guys signed your number 5 pitcher to like a contract extension. I think it was Christopher Sanchez is his name, if I'm right. I think that's his.
Correct.
He's a lefty.
I don't consider him our 5 now, but he was our 5. Yeah.
I'm just saying because you guys have like 5 or 6 starting pitchers for Pete's sake. Jeez. Now Z. Shoot.
So of those names that you mentioned, absolutely. First off, yes, I think they need a bat. They need a right-handed stick in that lineup because Brandon Marsh can't hit left-handed pitching. Bryson Stott can't hit left-handed pitching. I like the guy in the field, but Johan Rojas can't hit pitching, period. So the bottom of the lineup is essentially automatic outs, AOs, as the Cuz used to say. So who do they get? I particularly, out of those names that you mentioned, I think Randy Arozarena would be awesome to have in Philadelphia. Just his personality, very clutch in the playoffs, right-handed bat, can play center field, can play left field. I do agree with Justin. The bullpen is leaking oil significantly. If they can get a back end arm to solidify that bullpen, but I go back and forth. I always am. One day I'm get the outfielder. One day I'm get the bullpen guy. There's some chatter that they may go after a two for trade with the Nationals, where they get Kyle Finnegan and Mr. Lane Thomas, right-handed bat.
Okay.
So, listen, the trade deadline to me is always really exciting. I love all the rumors. I love all the national beat writers, your John Heymans, your Morosi's, your Rosenthals. Buster only his head is spinning.
Right.
So
Bill Conlon.
Bill Conlon, may he burn in hell.
Bill Conlon. Bill Conlon.
It's an exciting time, but I will say this, Mr. Lane.
Shoot, go ahead.
The Braves last year, they had every single player have a career year.
Correct.
It would have been hard to duplicate that. Now,
granted, I wasn't expecting it either.
The injuries suck. Injuries do suck.
Exactly.
They have been depleted by injuries. But as a Braves fan, I am concerned, and I told this to Justin, the past 2 years with this new wild card format, we both know, that the Philadelphia Phillies, the number 6 seed, go to the World Series. The Arizona Diamondbacks, the number 6 seed, go to the World Series. There's a team right now in our division that is red freaking hot. Do the New York Mets worry you at all? Because they scare me.
Well,
the New York Metropolitans.
They're kicking the crap out of the Yankees tonight.
That's a good question.
They're kind of notorious. They're notorious for collapsing, though, aren't they?
They are. but this just seems different. I don't know why. I don't know how. They just keep winning and they keep mashing. They're beating the Yankees 12-2 right now.
Yeah, let them cool off.
Well, that's a good question. See, that's a fair question to ask me about the New York Mets. I personally thought, and this might be a dumb statement on what I was going to say, I thought the Nationals would have a better record than the New York Mets personally. That was my personal opinion because the Nationals have the prospects. They just called up a top prospect by the name of James Wood, who looks like Josh Bell. He's a left-handed hitter.
James Woods, the actor?
Wood. No.
Wood is singular, not plural, sir.
His last name is
I'll get
Wood?
to Rue TV in a minute, but it's
Wood.
just to answer the question about the Mets. You know,
Wood.
the Braves do actually play against the Mets this weekend. I believe it's a 4-game series
guess what?
tomorrow.
The Mets are going to be 1 game behind the Atlanta Braves in the standings. Wow.
Yeah, well, we are damaged goods right now, and I hate to say that because we do not have. I know Sale's supposed to pitch tomorrow, because he was originally supposed to pitch tonight against the Reds. Now we just called a prospect up by the name of Nacho Alvarez Jr.
Nacho?
Yes, Nacho. So can it, dude?
Like Nacho Libre?
I'll get to Rue TV in just a second. Let me talk from the Braves angle here. But yeah, am I concerned about the Mets? Yeah, a little bit. To me, the Mets have played above and beyond expectations because they signed big name players. Their owner went after like big names. He went after Verlander, Scherzer, and it completely backfired spectacularly for the Mets. But now they got some talent a little bit. They're playing a little bit better baseball than people put them to be. Now the series against my Braves this weekend, I believe it's in Citi Field. That'll be an interesting series. We'll see who wins, what happens there. If the Mets catch fire, good for them. Now, as far as my Braves, like I said, we're hurt. We're hurt right now. I don't know when these players are coming back. So Fried, like I just said, Fried's out and whatnot, and we lost Albies as well recently. So, but now Rue TV, I want you to go ahead and shoot about your Phillies. Go ahead.
Well, now Mr. Lane, now I feel bad because as long as I've known you, you've been a Braves fan. And yes. I really feel for you when you say they're hurting. So yes, I think I'm going to throw some good juju. Is that the word? Juju. Some good energy out into the universe for the Braves right now. And I got 4 words for the Braves. You ready? Ready for those 4 words?
What?
Here it goes. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
And the Braves win.
I knew it.
Oh my God.
Sid Brave.
Oh my goodness. Skip Curry? You doing Skip Curry impersonations? Oh my God.
You're right. The late Skip Curry.
Yes, I know. And well, before I continue with Rue TV, I'll give you a Skip Curry related story. Now, the current announcer for the Braves, his name is Brendan Gaudin, who's known for doing Madden games.
Yes,
quite frankly.
Yes.
He's the announcer. He's the announcer. Correct, Mr. Z. Correct, Mr. GM of the Cowboys. Anyway, he does the games for the Braves, I believe, also. But he wrote a letter to Skip Curry back in his younger days, and then he got inspired to become the Braves' new announcer. See, when Chip Curry moved to St. Louis, he's now the St. Louis guy. They were looking for a new announcer. I didn't know who it was going to be. But I think they nailed it with Brendan Gaudin, to be honest with you. I've heard a lot of good reviews with him. He's into the game, into the action.
He's good.
He's excellent. I like him, but I think it's a major upgrade compared to Chip Curry. Chip Curry, God bless his grandfather Harry Carey, and God bless his father Skip Curry. I mean, if it all works for St. Louis, great. But Brendan Gaudin is the man right now in Braves country. I'll say that much. Now, Rue TV, who do you think the Phillies, with general manager Sam Fuld and president of baseball operations Dave Dombrowski, who do you think can help that Phillies outfield? Or do you have confidence in that outfield come October? Because you guys have the best record in baseball. It's primarily your division.
When is the trade deadline?
Trade deadline's next
Let's see.
Tuesday.
All
They're
right.
gonna have a trade deadline special on the MLB Network next Tuesday.
I just the way I think the outfield. I think it's fine. I always envision this. I always envision this team picking up another arm in the bullpen, like a big time closer. But there is really nobody available. I mean, who the
All
hell?
right.
There's nobody. So I'm not saying that their bullpen is shit, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like if you really want that missing piece, that you got to have that lights out guy. You've got to have that lights out guy if you really want to
Right.
have that confidence going into the later innings to hold a lead, especially in times like these. Do you
Right.
remember Mr. Lane when the Phillies won it in 2008? Who was their lights out guy? What was his name?
Well, his name was Brad Lidge, who used to pitch for the Astros, and I think you guys
More
traded
importantly,
Michael Borden to get him at the time.
he was a sure thing. More importantly than Brad Lidge, who was the pitcher that came before him in the eighth inning that we called the bridge to Lidge?
Hmm.
His first name was Ryan.
Oh, Ryan Matson, you mean?
Ryan Madsen. So my point of it is, and why I bring this up is, it was such a sure thing. That 1-2 punch in the bullpen, to me, as good as the Phillies were, that was the reason they won the World Championship. Was that right there? So the way I would general manage a team is always focus on that 1-2 punch. If it's available, if it's not available, sometimes you don't have it. It's not a perfect storm, but I don't know. I think the offense is fine. I wouldn't go out and make too many changes.
So you wouldn't go after a Rosarena or a Rooker or Rosarena, Rooker, or Luis Robert. I think Luis Robert can play the outfield as well. He brings speed.
Well, it can't hurt. They can't hurt. But I think the Phillies, as long as they stay healthy in the second half.
Or would you consider another player who's been solid in the bullpen for Oakland? Yeah. Would you guys consider a potential Mason Miller guy? Could he be like a setup guy? Could he be like an eighth inning guy? Would you let him close?
Yes, but how would you acquire him?
Now they could do a blockbuster deal. They could package maybe a Rooker.
You'd have to drain the entire farm system for Mason Miller.
I don't know.
Yes. And they traded, and look at how Marsh got traded. You guys traded Moniak, who was, I believe, your number one pick overall. He was unfortunately a major bust in the minor league system, sad as it sounds. I know he made his major league debut with the Phillies, but then he went to the Angels. I think he was part of the Brendan Marsh deal. So, I mean, that's more things to ponder for you guys about. I mean, last I checked, you guys have the best record in baseball. I figured I ask a fair question to all three of you because do you guys have confidence in that outfield? I mean, Pache, who's a former Brave prospect, I believe he's still on the roster. I think he's one of your fourth or fifth outfielders on the squad now. Guy can rarely hit, but he's a very good defender. I think he has a solid arm, but he's a very solid defender and whatnot. But he hits under like around 200 or something.
He's very light hitting, but he can go get the ball.
I'll just say real quick that as far as getting these guys at the deadline, that would be great. But as far as depleting the farm system, the way that the Phillies are made up with the large payroll and these big contracts, you need the prospects. You need these guys to start contributing from the farm because they come up like a Bohm or somebody who's making the major league minimum or an arbitration. Right. You need that to balance out the big contract. Not saying that Luis Robert and Rooker would be making as much as them, but we can't really afford to give up these prospects and just solely rely on buying people and paying people because it's just not sustainable. In 2008, we figured we could just keep paying people, and we had a bad farm system. That just tore apart the whole organization. So
and they made a couple small minor moves in 2008. They didn't get CC Sabathia. He went to the Brewers. They got Joe Blanton. They got JC Romero was designated for assignment. He came on board. They made a trade for Scott Air, which solidified.
What is the common denominator? They were all arms, and that's what puts them over the top, in my opinion.
And who was your general manager? I believe at the time for the
Hall of Famer Pat Gillick.
Correct. One of the best general managers of all time. Yes, and I have to rub this into all three of you. He did beat my Braves in '92, but we know what happened the following year. I don't need to say no more.
We all
I got a
know.
couple. I got a couple fun.
Because it was an FLUKE, and you already know my angle on the whole thing. End of discussion. So we're not going to discuss 31 years ago. That's for another conversation. So, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask politely if you guys had confidence in your outfield the way it is. I mean, do you guys trust a Marsh,
We
a
well,
Rojas, a
we answered the
Castellanos for
Mr.
your
Lane.
outfield? Yes.
Mr. Lane, yes, we answered the question. Now, I have a
Good.
question for you.
Shoot.
Your brother Chris is a big Colorado Rockies fan. What are Chris's thoughts on the Rockies, and how are the Rockies doing?
Well, the Rockies, I think you're doing decently, but they got a lot of work ahead of them to do, and
Could we
and
call Chris to get
obviously,
his thoughts?
well, he's probably asleep right now. So, but
I will say Mr. Z placed a wager on the Red Sox today to beat those Rockies, and the Rockies won 20-7. So
yeah,
Yes,
they
20
won
runs.
big, and I heard it was a bench clearing situation. I saw it on social media where the bench is cleared between the Rockies and the Red Sox today. What
Somebody
the
said a
heck?
bad word. I don't understand how it was the first time the Rockies scored 20 runs in like 20 years. But
Yeah, that's
you
thin
play
air.
Coors Field. How have they not done that in 20 years? But
That's thin air.
Well,
Um,
because
Thin air.
they had to I think it was humidifier the humidor, I think is what it's called. They do with the
yeah,
baseballs because
humidor.
yes, correct, because see with the
Troubadour.
Rockies they did that so the baseball wouldn't fly as much. Like because
Yeah.
back in the early days of the Rockies, a lot of people wouldn't want to pitch there because that you would give up a lot of runs. It was like chaos when you were pitching
Yeah.
for the Rockies. I mean, the only pitcher that I could see that was, I think, somewhat successful for the Rockies, and I don't know what ever happened to him. He was very good in I believe it was 2019, but I don't know whatever happened to him. He was a left-handed pitcher by the name of Kyle Freeland. He was very, very underrated with the Rockies. I mean, that guy did figure it out. I think his ERA was like around 4 or under 4 at the time.
they had Ubaldo Jimenez, who was their
Yes.
ace when they faced the
John
Phillies in
Gray.
2009, but also NL
Yes.
Rookie of the Year winner Jason Jennings was a Rockies pitcher who won Rookie of the
Okay.
Year.
Yep.
So
You got
It's an
to have
interesting
hard
name. Interesting name.
throwers. You got to have hard throwers there because the ball doesn't spin real well there.
You know
So,
what? Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
can I got to take control here because we're running out of time here. I have a couple quick things I wanted to touch on if you guys are okay with that. One thing, we were talking about this offline, but I wanted to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. It's a big part of what's happening in our country. We see people using deep fakes to pretend they're the president. We see
Yep.
people making photos. I saw Mr. Z making some funny photos. I think he did one of Mr. Lane, I thought was pretty funny. What do you guys think of artificial intelligence? Are you pro or con? How do you feel about, someone being able to take your image and likeness and basically put you in any picture that they can?
Now, you take that one, Mr. Lane. I have no comment.
How do you feel about artificial intelligence?
Well, as far as AI, it depends on how it's used, honestly. I mean, like you just nailed a good point. I do watch some videos where they do presidents and celebrities alike, and I think they play video games. They do a lot of little skits. I've seen it on a few YouTube channels where they'll play video games and whatnot as presidents with their AI. But they do give you a disclaimer before the presentation, which I think is very important in that regard. I mean, for entertainment purposes, I'm okay with it, but beyond that, it can get a little bit more sketchy a little bit because
Yeah, I got this friend Logan, who's on the
Mhm.
internet. He is my friend. He added me on the friend, and he keeps talking about this girlfriend. Well, Logan, he's not the most handsome man in the world, but I'm looking at the pictures of his girlfriend. His girlfriend looks like a Baywatch model, and I'm like, how is this possible? So I clicked on Logan's Instagram, and clearly in the girl's profile, it says AI model. So they using this for sexual girl parts.
He's frozen. When you see
Ah,
those pictures, look out for the number of breasts, because AI doesn't do a good job of just creating two. Usually, it's like 3 or 1 breast. So always look at the breast.
That is a true story, by the way. And I feel bad because I believe I hope he knows. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe they don't. I don't know. It's
Guarantee
interesting.
he's probably sent whoever runs the account money. Like,
Yeah, it's one
that's
of
a
them.
shame.
It's one of them deal. And then what happens is so you see, the contrived AI pictures, which are very realistic, but then you also see, or I heard how it happens is they will DM you and you have an actual AI conversation as if you were talking to your girlfriend. So like I don't know, maybe that's good for people like Logan who maybe didn't have that type of doesn't have that and ever had that kind of interaction. I don't know, but it could be dangerous because then you convince your brain that this woman is real when she's a figment of your imagination. And then you start telling people, yeah, it's my girlfriend Melanie, when really it's just some, you know, 390-pound guy named Gus sitting in a computer room eating a bag of Cheetos.
Nothing wrong with
Creating
Cheetos.
Well, Mr.
Yeah.
Lane, I'm sorry for using your image and likeness on the Meta AI, but I just hope you know it was just for fun.
yeah, it was for entertainment. I understand, sir. I totally understand that.
All right, Mr. Lane. Mr. Lane,
I
we
had
have
to
a very
freeze for Rue over there because
yeah.
he brought an interesting freaky story right there for a minute. I'm saying, what the heck?
And if you look on my go to my
Ah,
friends, go to my listen. He's not watching. I don't think not very close with the guy. Go to my friends list on Facebook, and also I'm buddies with him on Instagram. I think he's for one of my shows. He knew one of the guests. I think Wet Movie or Cinestalker. Name is Logan. There's only one friend. Check it out and see what I'm talking about. And I feel bad for the guy because I don't think he might not. I don't know. Maybe he's not too. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out there. Be very careful. Be very careful with AI. Be very careful.
Is he the one from Laporte?
Not Laporte. I think he may be from somewhere in West Virginia or Greenfield.
And okay, next we're gonna ask a question. To the Delsey class of '99, I have a question. Who was your senior class president?
oh, wait a minute. Senior class president.
I want to say, was it Scott Brook?
I was thinking the same thing, but when I went to the reunion 5 years ago, unfortunately he wasn't there. I know Naima Hicks was one of the might have been the vice president. I'm not sure, but Scott
Yeah.
Brook. I am in agreement with you there, Rue. I believe it was
Okay,
Scott.
okay. Now let's go back in my time machine to 1999. All the kids were wearing bell bottoms. Mr. Lane had his Braves hat on, and times were good. Times were good. There's a new boy that comes to school senior year. He's from another high school named Sacred Heart. His name's Anthony Zorzi. He tells you, he looks in the eye and he says, Mike Lane, hi, Anthony Zorzi, pleased to meet you. I want your vote. I want to be your president. You say, president? I barely know you. He talks to you about baseball. He talks to you about wrestling. He buys you 3 cookies from the lunch table. Does Mr. Anthony Zorzi have your vote, or does Scott Brooks keep the vote? Has he done enough? Could you see him leading a class of Delsey when he's not even a Delsey guy? If he transferred, could you see Z as a president?
Now, that's an interesting take that you just said about because I have history with Scott. I know him a little bit too. I known him, back in our school days. And as far as this curveball with Z is concerned, huh?
He wines, he dines you. He gives you his chocolate milk that he gets from the
Would
lunch
he get
table.
would he get my vote? That's a tough one. I mean, that's a tough question. I mean, unbelievable.
The
Wow.
fact that you even have to think about it
Wow.
makes me happy. Makes me happy. Okay.
But here's my take. I love my 99ers very much, as much as I do.
Delsey
They're
99ers.
part of they're the reason why I'm on social media to begin with. That's really why I'm on the Facebook, I'm on the Instagram, or on the Twitter /X, whatever, but it's Twitter. But Z, I always call Z this, and I'm serious about it. even shenanigans aside, I would have to respectfully vote no to answer Justin's question, because simply he's the GM of arguably one of the best teams in the NFL. I still call him the general manager. I even, general manager of the Dallas Cowboys, Mr. Z. He's the general manager of the Cowboys, not the president, but the general manager of those Dallas Cowboys. He could build a Super Bowl. Jerry Jones needs to endorse you. For Pete's sake.
Anthony, how do you feel?
He looks like a general manager. He knows the Dallas Cowboys.
Well,
he's
the
passionate
ballot box is closed.
about the Cowboys.
Get out of your booth. Kicking you out of the booth.
I think that's why. I think that's partly Z's hatred for Tony Khan. He knows he could do a better job.
I don't know if I could do a better job in the wrestling world, but I certainly know I could do a better job than the Jones family right now with that football team in Dallas. And
there you go.
Yeah, no, we're getting into training camp, and I'm sure we'll talk football soon. But I have never been just more down with one of my teams. You all know I stay shit, but I am just very disappointed in my football team, and I'm not ready for football to start because they just make me so angry.
All right,
real quick. We got a little bit of time left. President of the podcast. I'm running for president of this podcast. Anybody else running against me?
You won on
you need a win, bud. You need a win. You can have it.
All right,
take that win, buddy. Take the win, buddy.
Never mind.
You
guys want to do Promo Mania?
Buy or sells?
Buy or sell? Sure. Mr. Lane, I'll start with Rue. Buy or sell the new album from Alkaline Trio. Buy or sell quickly.
I'll buy it. I listened to it on repeat. That's my barometer, is if I listen to it on repeat months later after it came out. So you buy.
Mr. Z, buy or sell Team USA winning a gold in men's basketball?
I buy. I can't wait to watch the USA men's basketball team. I think they're going to dominate the world.
Mr. Lane, buy or sell the Hakua girl?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I heard that lady went viral. I'll buy her. Why not? I'll buy her.
Buy or sell the actual act of Hakua?
What is that?
I'll buy it. It's entertainment.
Spit on that thing.
It's entertainment. It's I think that figure, that lady,
that woman was viral as all heck.
That's what I'm saying.
What's the story behind it? I guess I must have missed this. What's the story behind this?
I'm trying to remember, but I know she went viral. I forget the background story, unfortunately. So
yeah.
I don't know what she was talking about.
Now, I just had one question. I know it's about 10:30. I don't want to. I'm just gonna ask Mr. General Manager of the Cowboys one little question, Cowboy related. Do you guys extend Dak Prescott, or do you guys go after another quarterback?
Well, that's the how many $70 million question. I mean, everyone's saying that could potentially be his contract. Me personally, I think you have to.
Okay.
The Cowboys don't have a good track record of quarterbacks. They got bailed out by an undrafted guy named Tony Romo. They got bailed out,
great analyst for CBS,
in the 4th round. Top tier NFL quarterbacks are hard to come by. I don't think Dak is somewhere between 6 and 10, 6 and 12 maybe.
Okay.
And it's finding the next guy is very hard.
Okay, I just had to ask you because you're the diehard Cowboy guy. Because I had to ask that. Go ahead, there, Mr. Justy Z or Justy, sir.
I mean, that's pretty much all I had.
I've got one major announcement to the viewers that you may not know this, but by the time we do another 4 for 40 or an / Horseman hangout, there may be another Horseman in the works or Horsewoman in the works. As our esteemed host has a child on the way. Congratulations, Mr. Justin. Pre-congratulations. But my question is for Mr. Lane. It's not for you, Justin. It's for Mr. Lane. We don't know the sex of this baby. We don't know the name of this baby. Mr. Lane, give Mr. Justin some options. Give him a boy name for a boy, and give him a girl name for a girl if it's a girl. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what this thing is.
You're putting me on the spot there, bro. I mean, my goodness,
they may use your idea. You may be
Top of your head.
That's a good
Could be
question.
sports related.
I think for a lady name, it could be Olivia, maybe, or Liv.
All right,
Olivia
I like it.
Or,
Olivia DiBiase. All right,
or
Olivia.
if it's a guy name, it could be let's see, maybe a Bryson or a Drew or something like that.
Bryson or Drew. I like Drew DiBiase. All right,
Drew.
I like it.
It's an interest. That's all I.
What about
all
Justin
Actually,
Jr.? You
I
can call him
like
JJ.
Andrew. Yeah,
Bryce.
I like Drew actually. That was one of the ones. It's not going to be Drew, but I did like Andrew. Drew.
Okay. Well, I was on the
Bryson.
right track there.
Speaking of,
Bryson.
I know Rue was talking about sex of the baby. Speaking of sex, I shouldn't do that transition. Never mind.
Well, I have something that I think has flown under the radar
Don't
that we
do
can
that.
bring up.
Okay.
Guys, I don't know if anyone has connected the dots here. I just glanced down at my calendar. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Ric Flair signing was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
This summer.
Yeah.
It was
Oh, wow.
2004. I
Holy
remember.
shit.
Yes.
All right, so two things on that. It's so crazy you brought that up. I didn't realize that until you said that. It is 20 years. And I don't know what month that was. I think it was June or July. I think it was July.
Yeah, it was the summer.
I'll have to get the exact. Wouldn't it be crazy if it was today?
That would be insane.
I'll check on the date of that.
That's the
But
first time I ever met Mr. Lane.
But
20 years ago.
You remember?
Right.
What do you remember about that day, Mr. Lane? But before you do, I also want to point out one more thing. 10 years ago, 2014, the start of the Horsemen Hangout. 10 years in the making. I was 33. Like at 43. I'm sorry for my cursing. I'm 40 something right now. I can't believe it. But 10 years of Horsemen Hangouts. 10 years, Mr. Lane.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I remember that as well, but
remember the old guests. Remember Stephen Page. Remember the one from the South. Remember all those guys.
Yeah, I remember our previous guests. I do remember.
Out of all those guys, who was your favorite? The Stephen Page, the one from the South, the Ballet Castle, or the remember Mark Golden? Mark Golden?
Yeah, I remember him.
The one from the South is now Tofts. The one from the South, Tofts.
Wait, I remember another guy also. I think he lives in Chicago. He was pretty cool.
The Blender.
Blender.
Yeah,
Sturgeon, yes.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is maybe next time we do 4 for 40, maybe August or when Mr. Justin is able to, I'd like to maybe get a fifth man on the panel. Maybe we do 5 for 50 or so. I don't know.
Or
so
female.
Who do you think out of those? Female. Yeah, Pat, we're talking about the past panel members. So who's it going to be? It's going to be Stephen Page. It's going to be the Southern Man, or will it be Mark Golden? Will it be the man from Chicago?
I miss you, bud.
Yeah, the man from Chicago. We haven't seen him in a while. Which one do you pick, Mr. Lane? I like Steve. I'm gonna go with Stephen Page.
I'm thinking either Mr. Page or Mr. Sturgeon. Those are the only two I could think of off the top of my head, honestly.
All right.
I think Mr. Stephen Page would be a solid yes. I think that's a good one too. He's right up there. I would say Mr. Steve Page is Mr. Stephen Page as well. I think he would be great. So
all right.
Yes.
Well, that's all I have.
DJ Double J, Jimmy Wiener too. Get him on here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was gonna say, Rue, I wanted to give you a quick shout out for your latest interview of Hannah Fearman. I gotta watch it, but Rue TV, your interview, it's at number 3 you did with her, and she is a movie star. And what movie, if Mr. Lane wanted to catch her, can he see her in? Would he want to check out?
Well, there's a bevy of them, but if you want her most well-known ones, what she's known in the horror community, you type in VHS. It's a found footage horror movie. She's in the first segment, which is pretty memorable.
Okay, wait, we're not going to spoil it. So, Mr. Lane, your homework is you're going to watch VHS. Watch Rue's Friend on there, and you'll report back. Just you're gonna give us a review of what you thought about it the next time.
All right, now hold on. Now, what platform is this on? Is this a YouTube video? Is this on Netflix? Is this on a video streaming service?
I think right now you can find it online for free or on Hulu if you got Hulu.
Okay.
So one of those streaming platforms online.
All right.
So,
Well, I'll have to take a peek at it. I'll have to take a peek at it.
all right.
So I'll do that. Yep.
Okay.
Report back next episode. Report back.
Okay. Fair enough. That
Uh,
sounds like a fair proposition.
All right. This has been a great hour and a half here, guys. I guess we'll do final thoughts. I don't know if we want to do Promo Mania tonight. Rue, what do you think? Should we go Promo
Now
Mania or just final thoughts?
let's do final thoughts, and then maybe to close out the show, we can get another, like last episode. We can just end with Rusev Lane doing a little goodbye.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Okay. Mr. Z, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, just like touched on it earlier, but 20 years, long time, boys.
Thanks.
The four of us went to a Ric Flair signing at a Walmart, and who would have thought that a beautiful friendship would have blossomed from that strange event? So, cheers to 20 years, my friends.
Yes,
Mr. Rue,
cheers.
do you have
Cheers.
any final? Thank you, Mr. Z. Cheers. Yes. Rue
I
TV.
I just want to, I'd be remiss if I didn't echo those sentiments from Mr. Z. Like, cheers to 20 years. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I was wearing a TNA shirt. I was a big TNA fan back there. We met Ric Flair. It was also the beginning of a legacy, and Mr. Lane was a big part of it. And I believe that was a surprise. So one thing, a little fun fact for viewers at home: Mr. Z had no idea who I was bringing that day. I mean, we had planned to go see Ric Flair at Walmart, and I said, I got a surprise for you. And Mr. Z was like, I have no idea what you're talking about or what you're talking about or who you're talking about. We pulled up on Tuckahoe Road and picked up a man. The man's name is Mr. Lane, sir, and he is forever ingrained in Horseman history. In 20 years, man, holy shit. A lot has happened in 20 years. Cheers to the next 20 years. They're going to be even better than the last 20. That's all I got to say.
Mr. Lane, sir, any final thoughts?
Well, I thought it was an excellent show. We were able to talk, our usual wrestling and baseball conversations. Beautiful. 20 years of friendship and then 10 years of this video conversation, which I think has been, very phenomenal, very successful. That's basically all I got. But should I do the Rusev Lane or Miro Lane, I should say?
I'll send it back to you. I just want to talk about that real quick. The 20 years. Yeah, I echo all those sentiments. I thank you guys for your friendship. Interesting though, the 10 years thing. The idea that we had about the video calls, like now, I mean, podcasts are huge now, but as far as like YouTube shows and YouTube podcasts, there weren't a ton the Google Hangout thing was kind of new and not many people were doing it. I forget where I even saw or got the idea from, but I would say we were revolutionaries, similar to how Rue TV, with his blog and his channel was revolutionary. Tom Green, something about being the first and seeing the trend. We have a habit of. So hopefully we can find the next thing that is going to be cultural defining, because I think we've changed America. We did it, guys. We've changed the landscape of this country, and let's do it again. Let's do it again, boys. Okay. Rusev Lane, take us out.
It's Miro Lane to you there, Mr. Justin Horst. Rusev Lane is dead. Miro Lane is here. Former AEW, I hope I come back and I will crush the competition. It doesn't matter who it is. Gotta crush the competition. One more time. It doesn't matter who it is. Miro Lane out.
Now, Mr. Lane, bring it full circle. Mr. Lane, if you remember, the day of the Flair signing, you did a Triple H impression, and the crowd went wild. You don't remember? I specifically remember. Guys, back me up here.
There's video of it.
There may be video evidence. Oh, okay. I have video evidence of that.
He's doing it.
Yeah,
I might. It's been like 20 years. I probably remember it a little bit. So
you were imitating.
Like sketchy is all.
Imitating his water spit entrance, and the crowd went wild.
Oh my goodness! Oh boy.
Good times.
Especially this one young lady who was very impressed.
Okay.
Champion strutting, and the Horsemen hanging.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
what happens when you watch wrestling for 30 years, 30 plus years for me. So
It's all about the numbers. It's all about the numbers.
a lot
Got
of
that
fun.
longevity, can still
Lot of
win those
fun.
championships.
Yeah, a
By
lot
the
of fun.
numbers.
It was a lot of fun, guys. All right.
All right,
It's about
guys, you have a
almost
good night.
11. All right, you guys have a good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm out. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Lynn. Everybody have a great week, and I'll see you guys later. Night, Josh.
Vince.